All right, welcome back. We got co-host Cryptopolis with us today, and we are going to jump down into PayPal news. The Bitcoin, all the new Bitcoin is mine, Dave. What are we going to do?
Well, you know that we knew this was coming for a long, long time.
We did. We really did.
And, you know, when I heard Paul Tudor Jones, which is one of my heroes in the stock market area, talk about the fact that he has a percentage of his net worth into Bitcoin, I'm thinking, is he talking his book, or is he like really? And he was sincere. And then we had a lot of companies who are putting their treasury functions into Bitcoin. And you know what? At some point, when Bitcoin, you think about the floating supply of Bitcoin, it's really low.
It's really low. Yeah.
So what's going to happen? They have to start to look at other cryptocurrencies. Hey, wait a minute. There's trillions of dollars available to invest in this market. And if Bitcoin, they don't want to run Bitcoin up on them. They don't want to run it up to 100,000 and then have to pay 100,000 in Bitcoin. They're going to try to manage that as well as they could. And they're going to start looking around. Oh, wait a minute. We got number 2 here is Ethereum. Number 3 is XRP. All right, let's just spread it out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
XRP at 50 cents is still a bargain.
It's still a bargain, right? I mean, it's like, look, I look at this thing, and when I saw the article that said basically that all new Bitcoin are being absorbed through just what PayPal's doing, the first thing that comes to mind is scarcity, right? And it's like, wow, now the only thing we're really going to be talking about selling is what people are willing to get rid of.
Well, PayPal made a ton of money on that.
Ton of money.
They've been accumulating Bitcoin for a very long time, $103 million worth, and I bet they bought $1 billion. Because they sold out of that 103 million of Bitcoin in 3 days. Oh. And it was to a limited number of people on their app. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even everybody. And so now they've got to go back into the market and start accumulating more Bitcoin. Well, now they've got to open it up. I know they got Bitcoin Cash in there, and they got to add other cryptocurrencies in there. And the really cool thing, really interesting thing, and somewhat odd thing, is that they don't even have charts. All they got is buttons. Buy $10, buy $50, buy $100, And so nobody's looking at charts. Nobody's saying, well, what's the price? I'm just buying $10 worth of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. It's like you're going to the store and you're buying $10 worth of, meat or grapes or, whatever, commodity. And so people don't even look at the charts. They're just going, I'll buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. I heard about Bitcoin. I want to buy it. And they're going to do the same thing with XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and whatever else they decide. They're rolling this out. They wanted to see what the demand was. Well, now they know.
Oh, they know big time. And to your point, I saw an article also that said that there was a person using the PayPal app, and they were basically trading, right? They were buying the dip and then selling, and buying the dip and then selling. And they said they did about 10 transactions, and PayPal shut them down. PayPal said, tell me what this is for and why you're buying this so much. Now, Dave.
Ooh. Now, that's something I hadn't heard. So that's interesting because, see, PayPal is not a trading platform.
Right.
So they're not regulated, under the regulations for trading platforms. So they're a money transmitter. That's the only thing that they do. They can't, in a stock market, if you do 3-day trades under 25,000 in your account, you're going to be labeled a pattern day trader. So you can't make those transactions and turn over your money within a 24-hour period, and you can't do more than 3 of those in a 30-day period. Same thing with, you don't have those kind of regulations in cryptocurrencies, but PayPal, because it's a completely different type of platform, it's not a trading platform. And so they're gonna say, hey, look, they have to shut down those day traders like the Robinhood traders and say, hey, look, you just can't do that. And so what it does is it means that PayPal, if you do use PayPal, it's an accumulation. That's it. You can only accumulate. Yeah, maybe you can sell, sometime in the future, but you're not going to turn, you're not going to turn your buttons into little buy and sell buttons over the short term.
Well, you know what's funny about this is that I see I see a huge problem, right? Like, I mean, PayPal's not exactly a corner store. I mean, 300 million users, Dave. I mean, my goodness. I mean, they're going to lion tame all 300 million users. I mean, it doesn't this really lean into the idea that something, maybe a part of this SEC meeting on December 3rd even has something to do with this approach or what have you. I mean, is this really a solution going forward? I mean, what are your thoughts here?
You mean as far as like PayPal just limiting people's apps because they're trading too much?
Yeah, I mean, how are you going? I mean, I mean, like you said, that there are rules against trading, and you have to have a trading account, and all of these things. They all really point to.
Yeah, they're not FDIC insured or anything like that. So, I mean, I suppose in their terms of service, and I haven't read the terms of service, but PayPal's got to have in the terms of service, hey, you can only do a buy transaction, and then you can't do a sell transaction for 30 days or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Why isn't it automated in the app? Why didn't it come up and say not able to make trade? Like, I mean, this is odd to me.
It is. So maybe they didn't think through this.
Right. Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, they didn't think all the way through this. And hey, maybe people want to trade this second by second.
Yeah, you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
Yeah. And people are going to get in trouble doing this. That's a really, really tough thing about it, because you're jumping into the market without really understanding what you're doing, and people are going to get hurt. And I think the thing that they want to avoid, and the one thing that Steve Mnuchin is constantly talking about as far as Bitcoin goes, is we want consumer protection.
Yes.
So FINRA and all the other agencies that are trying to protect consumers are saying, hey, this has got to stop. You either buy and hold it, or you have a 30-day wait period before you can sell it, or something like that. But of course, somebody's going to try to bend the rules a little bit and try to day trade this thing on PayPal, which is hilarious.
Well, it is hilarious. It's like one of the worst platforms in the world to try to day trade on. By the way, But the other thing that I thought was pretty interesting too is that it's the tax structure. By the way, if you ever want a video to not do well on YouTube, just put tax in the title. Okay, people just like that. Run, do not hit play. But the reality here is this is a very real thing for all of us, and whether we like it or not, and most people don't like it, Dave. The tax structure is an issue here. And if I look at the PayPal platform and the way it's structured, and I went into the terms of service for this particular section, and I didn't read the whole thing, but when I looked at the tax structure, it does say in there, the over $600, you're claiming cap gains. If you have rewards that you've gained over $600, obviously you have losses if you lose, and but to your point a second ago here, people on PayPal, Dave, are going to use this app. Bitcoin, I bought $100 worth of Bitcoin, Dave, when it was 15,000. It's now 18,000, and whatever those gains were. Lunch is on me, Dave. I'm buying lunch, right? I'm going out. I'm big shots buying lunch. I got the PayPal app and I got Bitcoin on there when my $100 doubled, right? Or whatever it is. So now I'm buying lunch. But the thing is at the end of the year, I wasn't thinking about all these gains, Dave, and I've been buying lunch all year.
Right. So yeah. So you got capital gains, and you've been buying lunch. You've been expending it, but you're it's not on the business app. It's only on the personal app. So now all of a sudden you get a 1099 from PayPal saying that you owe them $10,000 in taxes, and you spend all that money, but you have no deductions because you're not a business. You're just trading it, right? So it's like, what are you going to do? I think that's probably got to be part of the discussion. And PayPal is not going to give this little niche that they've got up. They made a lot of money doing this, and they're going to continue to do it. They just need to refine their, the tech a little bit so that it's a little more automated, so they can't. And also a big disclaimer window saying, hey, look, you buy this, Right now, you can't sell it for 30 days or something like that.
Something has got to happen. And
Yeah.
what I see here, because, pointing back to, the U.S. Treasury and all the different agencies and this, that, and the other. And I start thinking, where's the consumer protection in this? Where's the investor protection in this, Dave? I don't see it because, you can't expect, honestly, reasonably, you cannot expect 300 million users on PayPal to all of a sudden be hip enough to understand I've never invested in anything and I'm proving it because I'm buying things on PayPal. Right. I mean, I think that's evidence of it enough right there that you're probably not a disciplined investor because you're buying crypto on PayPal. But
Right.
that right there is clear away evidence that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Right. But, kudos, we got a market exposed to 300 million people. But the problem here going into this is that there's no investor protection there. I mean, a disclaimer, Dave, it just doesn't solve it for me. So I just think to myself, what kind of taste are the 300 million users of PayPal going to have in their mouth about crypto when what the hell is this, a 1099 at the end of the year? I was big shot in lunch all year. Now this is expensive lunch, Dave. I just don't know if this is ultimately where we stay. I know it's maybe I'm making a huge leap, but I just feel like this has to change. It can't continue to be this property model of tax and gain like this. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So there is going to be, I think, in the discussion, obviously, on that's coming up here on December 3rd, is the tax implications. And they've got to get a handle on this. And I think the only way they can get a handle on this is by making some definitions.
Yes.
You've got to define cryptocurrency. They got to say what it is, because, different assets are taxed in different ways.
Yeah.
And different incomes are taxed in different ways. So if you have a dividend on a stock, for example, it's taxed at a lower rate than your capital gains. If you hold it for more than a year, you've got other types of income. You've got trading income, short-term trading income with futures contracts. Those are taxed at a hybrid rate of 60% and 40% on long-term and short-term capital gains. But on stocks, it's a short-term gain on a shorter-term basis if you're trading a short-term. If you're holding it for more than a year, then you have long-term capital gains on those. So they're all taxed at different rates. How are you going to tax cryptocurrencies? I mean, the IRS does have some guidance on the taxation of cryptocurrencies right now as property. But if this does, and PayPal is going to roll this out, and I guarantee they are not going to stop because they see the profitability of this thing. They may have to get some additional licenses or something else to offer this and people to be able to buy it, and trade it. But I see that ultimately as the kind of the gateway to millions and millions of people in adoption to cryptocurrencies. And PayPal's not going to stop, but the legislation needs to be there, especially for consumer protection.
Agreed. And broadening this conversation, Facebook and Libra. Now, we mentioned this briefly in our other conversation. Let's park the car on this one for a minute because, we're talking about 2.7 billion users of Facebook just announced this morning and overnight here that Libra is going to launch in just a little more than a month, Dave. 2021 in January. I mean, let's talk about this for a second.
All right. So this is where I'm going to give you the microphone and I'm going to let you give me your opinion on this.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to open up a can of worms that, man, they can't sit on it anymore. It's going to explode. What's your take?
Well, listen, here's where I'm at here. Look, Facebook, 2.7 billion users. We know when the white paper first came out on this thing, it was atrocious. It was a basket of weighted currencies, and that was a mess, and you couldn't find a one-to-one because you got this basket of world currencies, and then you're going to create a currency that's built by basket of currencies that are fiat currencies that are held to monetary policy, but Libra's not held to a monetary policy.
What does that sound like? A basket of currencies.
Yeah, well, basket of currencies sounds like the SDR, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right?
They tried that model,
I think the IMF would have something to say about that.
Yeah, I think almost every leader of the free world jumped up and was like, "Oh, hell no!" I mean, I specifically remember, the leader of France came out and was like, "Now hear this, that ain't happening," and I was like, "Whoa," It got terrible reviews out of the gate, but now where we are now is that Facebook's graduated to, this is just a stable coin. It's a digital dollar. It's going to be a digital US dollar, Dave.
So do you think it's going to be limited just to Facebook's platform? Because all of the other, I mean, it's not going to be on exchanges because of the pushback from sovereign nations across the world saying, hey, you're not stepping on our fiat.
What's funny that you say this is I almost see this public-private relationship that we keep hearing so much about, and especially from Brian Brooks here in the OCC. And what I hear possibly taking shape here is the idea of we could use a private stable coin issuance for a federal dollar, right? If we could use that public-private relationship, find the best one and deem it, give it the anointing oils and bless it, and out the door it goes. It's now legal tender, because we're saying it's the legit one, right? As opposed to, let's say, Tether. Forgive me for the example. I hope Tether didn't get upset. But the idea here is that they are looking now at developing digital dollars for each country, starting what it looks like here with a US dollar. So then we'll have, the pound, then we'll have a yen, right? And they're basically, looking like we may be moving into this private public relationship of stablecoin issuance. And we just had Brian Brooks from the OCC domestically here with the federally chartered banking system say, it's okay to hold the reserves for stablecoin issuers. So now I know Libra is out of Switzerland, right? So I want a full disclosure of that idea. But I guess the bigger point here is that the digital dollar is that gateway. We have said this countless times. It's the on and off ramp to this space. It is the normalization of how to use digital money, even more so than it already is through the PayPals and Venmo apps that we're all used to using, right? So, yeah. But I don't think for a second that we're going to watch Libra launch a stable coin and not have something that looks pretty damn close to what PayPal offers with the ability to buy other cryptos with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that this is, I mean, when you look at what happened 2 years ago when they made that announcement, Brad Garlinghouse said, hey, this is a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Boy. And now that they're actually going to launch this thing to billions of people, it better shake them in their boots.
Yes.
I mean, this, can you imagine for a second a tech company issuing a stable coin based on a basket of currencies in which that basket of currencies fluctuates wildly, but Libra is just solid as can be, liquid as can be, even more liquid than all the other currencies put together because it's comprised of those currencies.
Oh, don't you say it. Look what you're saying.
Oh boy. Who wouldn't want to trade that? Everyone would want to trade that. And so everybody's got their fiats. Oh, nice little fiat. I don't need it anymore. I got Libra.
You don't need it. I got Libra, right? But
Libra's a world currency now.
Yeah, that's why they say we're not doing this basket, right? That's why they busted that up right from jump. And it looks like they're allowed them to do the digital dollars individually in the regions of the world, right, for them to use, which it already unties that notion, right? Because it's like
Yeah, and then what happens when the digital dollars have to, let's say we got the US digital dollar, we got the UK digital dollar, we got the Germany digital dollar, we got the France, Japan, Australia, Singapore digital dollars. How do they actually settle with each other?
Well, it's interesting because, there happens to be this bridge currency out here, works fairly well. It's, I think it's XRP. Yeah, that's it. To solve that whole friction. Yeah.
You had it. I
think that was it. We brought it home. We landed the plane. But yeah, I mean, that's I think we're looking at something like this taking place here. And, if the idea ultimately, look, the end goal here is not our words. This is the words of Ripple about XRP and the implementation of it as a bridge currency to the world and all the money, as they say. And
Right.
if we're looking at that idea and notion, aren't we looking for ways to synchronize and to be able to drive enormous amounts of utility and connected to the liquidity we need to power this idea of a new financial system very quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't trade at 50 cents and fulfill that function.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if we're talking about, we're probably talking, you know, you're talking billions and trillions of dollars moving across the globe from one CDBC to another.
Yeah.
It has, I mean, if I threw out an outrageous number for XRP, don't take my word for it, but
Right.
if I were to throw out an outrageous number of at least $10,000 per XRP,
Sure.
that would not be unreasonable for the amount of money and the function that it's performing.
It's a fact. I mean, what you're saying is a fact. And I mean, I don't know if you heard a week or so ago, did you hear the excerpt of Brad Garlinghouse on Frank Chaparro's podcast? He mentioned, okay, so he mentioned on there, this is what he said, his words: "We do know that central banks are looking into using the XRP ledger open source technology to issue stablecoins," quote unquote. That's what he said. Now, this steps outside of the Facebook and just the idea of the liquidity and utility that could be brought to that situation with the use of XRP to settle all of these stable coins, which makes sense. And all of that, honestly, falls very much in line with everything we've seen so far from the G20 and the Financial Stability Board and the OECD and other agencies that we've watched internationally really define what this space is going forward for all of us. And I guess when I look at that and I think, you think about how big that is for Facebook implications, settling all those stable coins for the world. And then you go another layer up and understand Brad Garlinghouse himself said that the central banks are looking at issuing their digital CBDCs off of the XRP ledger. I have to say, I mean, that again is trillions of dollars a day. And because we're talking about a new money, right? A new asset that's created to settle as a bridge currency. And by the way, SBI has just said that they are intending to test at the end of this month, which we are fastly approaching, or sometime thereafter, the use of XRP in the $6.6 trillion FX market, Dave. They just put that out a couple weeks ago. They're going to test XRP as the settlement bridge currency in the $6.6 trillion FX market. Now, these three elements together would drive that asset to an enormous price. XRP would have to be excess of 4 or 5 digits easily in full use.
Yeah, you're making me FOMO here, Brett.
And you know what the funny thing is this is real news, right? I mean, these are real statements by SBI, which is tied to Ripple and also invested in R3. This is real statements from Brad Garlinghouse himself telling you about these things, leaning in very heavily to say that, right? And now we got a month from now on the consumer level, Facebook getting in the stable currency game, and you know damn well that's going to come with a crypto offering.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing that I always go back to is that when they created XRP, they did 100 billion XRP. Everybody at the time thought they were absolutely insane. It was too much.
Yep.
Well, it's not too much now.
Exactly.
In fact, what's going to happen is, let's say you know that there's not a large floating supply of Bitcoin, and all the Bitcoin that's being produced at this time and mined at this time is being eaten up by Grayscale is doing most of it, right?
Yeah.
So it is just buying up a tremendous amount, and every time it's mined, it's going to be eaten up. Running out of supply. Well, boy, if this comes about, what you just mentioned for XRP as a bridge currency with all the CDBCs and Libra and everything else, there isn't enough XRP. There just isn't. I mean, 100 billion becomes a minuscule amount of XRP when you're talking those kind of numbers.
It really is.
I see 1,000. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised to see it hit 10,000 at some point.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see that either. And, I'm reminded in this conversation, we would be remiss to not mention that XLM, Stellar, is the same code. Jed McCaleb is the XRP Ledger creator who hired David Schwartz and Arthur Brito before finally leaving Ripple. And when he left, he took that code with him. So XLM is a suitor itself, and with half of the supply. Not financial advice, but those are the facts.
Yep, that's absolutely true. What you said is absolutely factual. And, when I look at XLM's price, action, it's bullish.
It is, I tell you. Boy, that thing was getting out of here, wasn't it? I mean, damn.
Ooh, man, it just took right off and didn't look back. And even now, I mean, it's only a couple pennies off its high.
I saw, is it 22 or 24 cents at the high? Where was it at?
23.5 cents, and it dropped down to about 14.5. And that was a nice little time to scoop some up. But man, the entire market is down today, but XLM is up almost 10%.
Yeah,
so there's something going on there.
Something going on, and something going on good, isn't it, Dave? I tell you, Dave, this is just amazing. I love our conversations. I have to apologize to the audience that we've been busy. I've had an enormous amount of stuff going on, and we just, the schedules just get crazy. Sometimes we can do it, sometimes we can't. But you know what? This is just one of the favorite things about this channel, that we get to sit down and do this with you, because you're absolutely a huge wealth of knowledge, and I know that the people just love it. And I just can't thank you enough for taking the time to sit down with us, man.
Oh, man, I always appreciate us getting together. You're one of my favorite people in the entire crypto space. So I really appreciate your time. And I do look forward to these opportunities to speak with you and in the audience, because they're just great people. I mean, the people in the XRP community and the crypto community are just warm, loving, helpful people. Every once in a while we get a troll, but hey,
it comes with the territory.
They're good people. All you guys are good people.
No doubt about it. And we're going to talk about Dan from Tradingology in just one second, but I have a little non-crypto, but this is great for anybody who loves art. And I'll see if I can get this up here. I'll hold this back here. There it is.
Yeah, hold it back. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. So it's right there. So now that says Fractals. And this is a killer computer graphics. I'm going to hold it like that. Fractals. And you can just look up Fractals, and Jack Cleveland is the artist of this, who's no longer with us, recently passed away, but I'm very dear friends with him and his mother and father, and they're just amazing people in my life, and I love them. But this is computer generated art in this book, and I can't even tell you how incredible this is. I mean, just some of this art, if you could see, is so amazing that he had created in his life. And anybody interested can reach out to me, and I'll put a link in the description and things of that nature. But I encourage them to check it out, because I'm a musician. I love art. I love producing music and things like that. And this art is absolutely profound. And any developers or computer graphic lovers, you should definitely Google Fractals by Jack Cleveland. And let's hear about Dan from Tradingology, who we just love.
Yeah, Dan at Tradingology and I have been doing daily trading room. I'm telling you, the guy is just on top of this thing. We do our analysis of the stock market. We do talk about crypto every once in a while, but not every single time. But if you're interested in trading, especially when it comes to the stock market, tradingology.com and talk to Dan, because Dan is the guy. And I'm in the trading room with him every single day, Monday through Thursday. We're taking a little bit of a break in the holidays here, but we'll be back in full force, daily trading room live starting January. So if you're interested in joining Tradingology, it has all my trading courses on there for stocks, options, and futures on tradingology.com. And I just want to finally mention that I'm coming out with a trading service for cryptocurrency called onlycoin.io. If you go to that website and do an early sign up, you get a discount on anything that I have. But I'm going to be following cryptocurrency on an hourly by hourly basis, and you're going to get all the updates on your either iOS or Android phone.
Wow, that is remarkable. That's breaking news right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's breaking news. I love it. Well, I want to remind everybody there's some great Black Friday specials from Clinton Donnelly and Pure VPN and Ledger Nano right now. It's just really, really incredible sales going on. I encourage everybody to check that stuff out. And I wish everybody a happy holidays, and I hope they had a wonderful Thanksgiving if they celebrate. And Dave, we will catch you on the next one, my friend.
One more thing before I go. Yeah. I have been doing some live streams, so if you're following me on Twitter at Cryptopolis_X, go check it out, because I will be doing more live streams on YouTube. And I go over a lot of the charts in cryptocurrency. So if you want to keep up on the charts with me, just go ahead and check that out. And I had Jay Hyatt 139 actually do a call-in while I was on one of the live shows. And I encourage you, Brad, to do the same thing. Next time I go live, you want to call in, I would be more than happy to take your call.
Oh, I would love that. We're going to work that out. That's going to be great. And shout out to Jay Hyatt 139, who is absolutely amazing. We're missing him in this little round table discussion, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, Dave.
Happy holidays, and be well and be safe, and we'll see you again soon.
You got it. Take care, Dave.
You too. Bye.